Hi everyone, my name is Kevin and welcome to Exploration Theme Parks, and in today's video I'm going to vent a little bit about some of my frustrations with my home park, Six Flags Magic Mountain. So let's get to it. And in this video I'm not going to go off a script or anything like that, just wanted to spitball and kind of vent about how I've been feeling about the park lately. And the day of recording, we're currently getting hit with Hurricane Hillary, which has been downgraded to a tropical storm, but it's been non-stop heavy rain, there's flooding, and there's flash flood warnings, and the high wind gusts haven't even hit us yet. So even today, Six Flags Magic Mountain is closed, along with like Knott's Berry Farm, SeaWorld San Diego. I think Disneyland and Universal Studios may be closing early today. So needless to say, I'm not at a park today. But me and my wife Nikki were recently at Six Flags Magic Mountain this prior Sunday, and I went a couple times during this summer so far. And recently, going to Magic Mountain with my wife, I always have the mindset of like, let's see how many roller coasters we can get on. And it was definitely a less crowded Sunday, school being back in session, coming towards the end of the summer. So, in my mind, I'm like, oh, we can get on a decent amount of rides. And then I always give Magic Mountain the benefit of the doubt that, the rides will be open. So we get there, we first go to the new or classic Revolution. And this roller coaster can get decent lines, being a classic roller coaster, being at the front of the park, being a family oriented roller coaster. It does have the loop, but it's a way tamer coaster than some of the other ones Magic Mountain has. So we're like, we haven't been on it in a long time, let's start off with it. And the line didn't look horrible, but we walked up and there was the sign saying it was running on one train, which, that changes the game of how long that line can take, because it's gonna double or triple the time that you're going to wait. So it went from probably being a 15-minute wait to at least an hour wait. So we decided to move on with our day and go to X2, which is obviously and arguably one of the most popular and best roller coasters at the park. And we walk up and we see another sign. X2 is closed for the day. And we're just like, are you serious? Our day is already we're already having a Six Flags day, which if you don't know what that means, it's being sarcastic per se, because Six Flags parks are unfortunately known for having rides down and having operational issues. So yeah, we're off to a bad start. And I wanted to get on Viper that day, so we went in line for Viper. Viper was running one train ops as well, which, on a slow day in general, I would understand that because it is a less popular ride. But, it turned it in from a walk-on to a 10 to 15 minute wait. And then so we went up to Tatsu. And, I was asking Nikki on the way, do you think it's going to be a one train ops? Because when my previous visit to the park, X2 and Tatsu were running on one train ops, which is absolutely insane to me, because those are two of the best and biggest roller coasters at the park. These get pretty long lines, especially during the summer. And there was another sign out front that said this ride is currently running on one train operations. And at this point we were just like, let's get in line. There's a pattern here, a consistent pattern that rides are closed and many are running on one train. Tatsu would have probably been a 5-minute wait. It turned into be like a 45-50 minute wait because of the one train operations. So we went on down to the underground where West Coast Racers and Apocalypse are located. Apocalypse is currently closed because of retracking that's occurring right now. And I'll get back to this, and that's okay in my mind because they're refurbishing the ride to, you know, last longer, be open more, but I'll get back to that. We got in line for West Coast Racers and it broke down, but that's besides the point because it was open and rides do break down. So we went along with our day, and let me backtrack real quick. So Ninja was closed. It's been closed. I'm not sure why it's been closed. I'm assuming, well, I'll get back to that as well. Superman was open. We didn't go on it. So we went on with our day. Gold Rusher was open. Wonder Woman, Batman were open. Riddler's has recently reopened, which is great because that was down for a long time, even through the summer. And I think they were doing some refurbishment work on it. And I'll get back to the refurbish stuff later on. So we kept on continuing. Scream was closed for the day. I don't know why. Twisted Colossus was running on 2 trains. The issue with that is, well, there's lots of issues. One is, if you even want a chance to have a duel on both your rounds on the track, because you do go, it's technically one track, but you go through the layout twice. It's different layouts, and you have a chance of getting 2 duels. Well, running 2 trains on Twisted Colossus, that eliminates one of those chances for a duel. And I guess I'll go on a tangent on Twisted Colossus at this point. So this is an RMC roller coaster, right? RMCs are, for the most part, outstanding coasters. And Twisted Colossus was built based on the classic Colossus, you know, of racing, of dueling each other at the same time. That's the point. I can't remember the last time I had a duel on this coaster because every time I've been on it in the last year or two, I don't get a duel, and typically it has like a 30-minute wait to an hour wait, and I'm not going to get back in line just to try to get a duel and waste more of my day. You know, West Coast Racers is a newer ride, and you get an automatic duel every time because of the ride mechanism that they have where, you know, the other train sits next to the station waiting for that train to hit its spot, and then they race, right? That's what they need to install and should have installed from the get-go on Twisted Colossus, so you get a guaranteed duel on every ride. We were in the train in the station, and I mean, at least the ride operator was saying, like, look, if you want a duel, hurry up, put your stuff down and get in the seat. And unfortunately, there was one woman that was taking her sweet time, and I mean, like, out of the ordinary, like, taking her time. So I don't know if she was doing it on purpose or what, but it was frustrating. But it's frustrating that it comes to that, right? Like, that you don't get that guaranteed duel on this roller coaster. And that's the point, right? And when you have a duel on this roller coaster, it turns it from a great coaster to a world-class coaster because of the elements that was built into this coaster specifically for dueling. Yeah, I say it every time I go to Magic Mountain. I go on Twisted Colossus, like, oh, I didn't get a duel again, like, yada yada yada, and that's the frustrating part. I think they should rethink that. They should go in and just put a stop mechanism in the second go around where it's waiting at a certain point for the other coaster. I mean, it slows down on the lift, but like, that doesn't do it, right? So that's my tangent on Twisted Colossus. And I know a lot of other enthusiasts feel the same, and you know, when they had that initial duel, they're like, oh my gosh, this is like a top 10 roller coaster. And since then, they haven't gotten that duel, and it continues to go down in their rankings because of it, which is unfortunate. Because overall, it's a great coaster, and it would be even better if you get that duel every time. So moving on, Goliath was closed for the day. Don't know why. I know that it was closed not too long ago for refurbishment, so who knows. Full Throttle was open. I think that covers, you know, the major roller coasters at the park. So here is my biggest frustration with Six Flags Magic Mountain right now. Operations are absolutely horrible. It's no fault to the operators on the ride. I think it has to do with management. That goes on to staffing issues. one thing is I think they're having difficult and trouble hiring enough people to operate the rides, but also I think it has to do with them not being able to hire and keep mechanics on staff to have multiple trains on the rides, to have these coasters always operating. And this leads me on to the next issue of when they are closing some of these rides and coasters for refurbishment projects. Apocalypse is currently going through another retrack, which I think they're only retracking certain sections of the ride, which in general is great, like awesome. You know, you're looking after the coaster, making sure it's gonna be as smooth as it can be, enjoyable as it can be, and for longer term, right? But during the summer, like, that's kind of, yeah, it's just bad timing. Do it during your, like, Six Flags was 365 days a year. It's not anymore, but it's open year round. Do that in your slower seasons during the winter when it's colder out, there's less people at the park. That's when you do some of these refurbishment projects. I don't know what the actual story is, like if they couldn't wait to do it, if there was like an issue with the track that needed immediate attention. I don't know. But also Crazyity's closed for some sort of refurbishment as well. So I don't know if that was urgent as well. Bad timing, bad planning. You know, I just don't know, but it's just not a good look for the park. And fortunately for me, you know, I live 8-10 minutes down the street. I have a season pass. It's my home park. But what frustrates me is people who plan to travel from far and spend a lot of money to come to Six Flags Magic Mountain, not knowing if these rides are going to be open. Because a lot of times, or most of the time, I don't know where you could find it, is they don't post like what rides will be closed for refurbishment, for like the time span. Other parks do, like I know Busch Gardens Tampa does, and I was recently at Cedar Point and Kings Island, and all of their coasters were open. And each of those parks have a lot of roller coasters, but they know people travel for these rides. Magic Mountain, I think now, has to be losing out on customers and income because of the image that people have of this park now. You know, they claim to have the world record 20 roller coasters, thrill capital of the world, when they can't even have all the coasters open at one point in time. Like, that's just, you can't claim that record if you can't have them all operating and functioning. It's just crazy. And you know, I made a video about, you know, Magic Mountain possibly getting a Giga coaster, and I always say like, oh, this ride would be perfect here, this and that. And I've like changed my stance recently because they can't even keep the rides they have now open. They have to fix these operation issues before they should even think about putting another ride in at the park. Unfortunately, like, don't get me wrong, I want that Giga, but you gotta fix these operation issues. You have to figure out a way to hire staff, retain staff, and if it's this mechanic problem and you have mechanics going to like Disney or Universal, like figure out a way, because you're gonna start losing a lot more business if this persists and you don't figure it out, because more and more people are gonna have this negative image and they're not going to want to spend that money. They're not going to want to travel for your park. They're not going to put you in the conversation for best roller coaster lineup or best park. Like, it's just not going to happen. And Six Flags Magic Mountain is a beautiful park. It's huge. There's trees everywhere. They've actually focused on, you know, repainting a lot of buildings, rides, and putting some new landscaping in, which I think is great. Make this park look amazing. Like, Magic Mountain always loses in the attendance competition to Knott's Berry Farm. You know, put Disneyland and Universal aside because they're in a different, you know, Magic Mountain's just not going to beat that, right? But, you know, make it a homier park, which is great. fix your operation issues so these rides are open, especially in the summertime. If anything, have them open in the summertime all at once. So that's what, and starting from like spring break, because this is when people are traveling to the park and want to travel to the park, but they're not going to if they know these rides are going to be closed, or if there's a chance. They're losing trust. They're losing, their brand image is going down when, the new CEO came on. Like everyone thought that brand image was gonna be more positive, but it's really not in my book, at least with Six Flags Magic Mountain. Yeah, it's just frustrating. And I know, Six Flags recently announced that they're gonna be making some huge investments, like larger roller coaster investments, which is great, because I've been saying they should take the Cedar Fair approach and space out new rides for each of their parks, right? So save big ride, big ticket ride where it's going to attract a lot of people for a long time, right? It kind of seems like that's what they're trying to do. It's just, Magic Mountain, they got to figure out the staffing issues, because I think that's the main problem. So I don't know, I just wanted to make a video, vent about my frustrations at the park recently. I didn't want to do a script because I wanted to get it off my chest, and I know a lot of people feel the same. I've seen in some of my comments on YouTube that, I'm planning a trip, like which rides were closed, or do you know if these rides are going to be closed? And it's like, these are what were closed when I was there. I have no idea, because Magic Mountain doesn't do the best of letting you know which rides are going to be under refurbishment, and it's always a surprise when they're on one train ops, or if rides that are not under refurbishment are closed that day and you don't know why. So again, might have gone on some tangents, but Twisted Colossus has always been a frustration of mine. The one train ups and ride closures consistently are a huge issue, not just with me, I know with a lot of other people. And it's just sad, because again, people travel not knowing, and then they get there and they're like, I can't even ride X2 today. Like X2 is, the only ride of its type in America, and it's obviously an outrageous coaster. Say they travel from another state, saved up all this money, and they can't go on it. Like it's just unfortunate. But I appreciate you watching me vent, listening. I appreciate it. It's healthy for all of us in whatever you're going through in your life, whether it's a theme park, roller coaster, amusement park, or just personal stuff. So I appreciate it. And I appreciate everyone who's subscribed to the channel so far. It means so much to me. Every like, every comment. I just do this because it makes me happy. I love to do it. I want to keep doing it. Also, please go and follow us on Instagram. We're almost to 3,000. We're going to be doing a giveaway, so be out on the lookout for that. Follow us on, I would say Twitter, but it's X now. Follow us on TikTok. We're even on Threads. I don't even know if people are still on that. On YouTube, we're almost to 2,000 subscribers, and we will be doing a separate giveaway for that milestone as well. So please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for upcoming videos. And remember, never stop exploring theme parks.